right, welcome to Your Time, Your Money, the show where your time is just as valuable as your money, and we know that. We thank our subscribers and our listeners for tuning in consistently throughout the weeks. Please like and subscribe and share, forward it on to other people that I think could benefit from kind of just the quality conversations that we have over a period of time.
Yeah, like and subscribe.
So, well, let's, today we're going to be talking about, kind of just year-end topics, things that investors can do in their personal finances and, towards the year end. And, I know you had mentioned a little earlier in show prep about what comes up at the end of the year.
Yeah, everybody gets ready to make their New Year's resolutions and say, I'm going to take care of that next year. So, and the whole idea here is, as you're saying,
yeah, and a lot of those resolutions are centered around money and finance and
health,
budgeting and
careers,
health, working out. I'm going to get to the gym, right? You go to a gym and first month is like, the first week is packed with people. The second week is still packed with people. The third is a little less.
Yep.
Usually by the first week in February, you're back to the normal crew that's in all the time.
Yep, that's a fact.
But the thing with finance, though, is some of those things that you can do at the end of the year as your resolution are a one and done.
Yeah.
And you can forget about them for the rest of the year. So let's get into that. It's your time.
Your money.
And we'll get started. I'll have you flip that. I think we have a little sand in there left over from last time. I don't know how that's possible. Right? So let's get into, kind of just the benefit of being the end of the year being a tax year.
Yeah.
Right? Investors have to look at that a little bit differently.
Yeah, it's certainly been, a year that people forgot does happen, right? The market being what it's been this year, we haven't seen it like this since 08, 09, followed by a 14-year bull run, a lot of different types of navigation that we've had to do as advisors, but also I think people for their mindsets.
Yeah, and a lot of times people are hesitant about making a change in their investment portfolio because they don't want to miss the rebound. Right. So what do? They procrastinate, or they say, well, I'm not going to make those changes now. I'm going to wait till the market comes back.
Right.
But what we encourage clients to do is take a look at that portfolio from a tax standpoint. Talk with a CPA and an accountant and see if they need an additional write-off or a loss that they need to offset from your income or perhaps some other money that came in during the year. And you might be able to sell a position and move into another position very similar, so you get the same rebound, but harvest that tax loss.
Right. And in some cases, there's, the more tax-advantaged alternatives as well that are out there and available.
Yeah, a lot of times we'll run into a non-retirement portfolio. So, mutual fund stocks, bonds on their own, not in an IRA.
Yep. And
the intent has always been to make it more tax efficient.
Mm-hmm.
And we always say, when's the best time to do that? Well, some of the best times to make the major moves, moving hundreds of thousands of dollars over to a more tax-efficient portfolio, is when the market's at its lowest. Right? When the capital gains are very small compared to where they were, or none, or you have long-term losses, to get it restructured for the rebound. And that's one way to look at the end of the year is how can I restructure my portfolio, my investments, to put me in a better tax situation for when that rebound happens.
Right. And a lot of it too, there's the old adage, and we've talked about it here, of course, on the show, but is the buy low, sell high mentality, right? Well, this is the market low, and this is the time to both get in, make the changes, make the shifts, have it, if harvesting the loss. So yeah, it's all part and parcel with the old adages, if you will.
Yeah, and a lot of people wait for their IRA or Roth contribution until April 15th.
Right.
Well, you might look at a year like we've had and say that might be a mistake.
Yeah.
Delaying until April 15th when you have that deadline may not be the best time to invest in the market. If you can pick up shares low, you can pick up, those securities now. What could it grow to potentially between now and April?
Right. Yep.
You might be, by waiting, you may be missing out on return, which is never a good thing.
Yeah. And, on that point too, when it comes to contributions to your IRAs, because of the time of year that we're in, you've got an advantage to make a contribution right away for this tax year, and then right as soon as January 3rd, basically right when the first working day, business day of the year, you have the opportunity to make a contribution for that following year.
Yeah, so theoretically, you can get 2 entire year contributions in within the next, 30 some days? So 35 days, 30, how many ever days we have left, for the year. So, that's one major thing that I think people need to change in their mindset is what's the latest I can add to my IRA, right? Because we always say it's not timing the market, it's time in the market,
Right.
For dividend reinvestment, for capital gain reinvestment, and what have you. So so that's another year-end practicality that people could do. The other thing it does for you too is it starts you on the path of maybe in January, if you max out your contribution now, to switch it from a one-time lump sum to dollar cost average and switch to monthly.
Right.
And what's a better time to do that than the beginning of the year?
Yep. Get in the habit. The money comes out evenly over the course of the year. You know what to expect, but what it does is it allows for taking advantage of the situation when the market's down, and as it rebounds over the course of time, the cost per share is going to be less.
Yep. And I would do, I think, another analysis by the end of the year of your 401k. Right, your 401k, 403b, deferred comp. Now is a good time to rebalance and relook at your work plan.
Yep.
Right, and more importantly, because usually a lot of times raises are followed after the holiday season, is to reanalyze what you're putting into those plans.
Yep.
And for some clients, we find that they're doing a straight dollar amount.
Yeah.
And what's the problem with doing a straight dollar amount, right?
Yeah. As salaries increase, and you're still putting in the same amount, when using a percentage, you can, and in effect, put more in without feeling the
I would ask our
loss.
listeners, if you are a listener right now and you're putting away $100 a month, why is that? Is it because that's what you set it at 6 years ago, but your income has grown by 30-40% in those 6 years, and you're still putting away the same dollar amount? So we encourage clients to do a percentage if they can, because then it increases as their pay increases. Right. So even if they're not changing that rate, so to speak, there's more money going into the plan for them. And that's something that you may want to reanalyze and say, all right, well, how did I make out this year? Did I struggle? Is a little bit more inflation this year? If so, maybe you're readjusting that amount down a little bit to help offset. Or maybe you're like, hey, you know what? I made out fine. I actually have money in my savings. I have extra money available. Maybe you want to bump it up another 2, 3, 4%, early on in the year. And just tidying up loose ends at the end of the year is always a good thing to do.
And along the point with the 401k, or your retirement plan, your work retirement plan. This year, I've met with many clients during our annual reviews that hadn't made any changes in their 401k since they set it up X amount of time ago, and a lot of the major losses in retirement portfolios were mainly seen, in my experience, in the 401k, the 403b, that space where the funds got purchased and then never got moved around, never got changed. So it's always a good time to, again, take an analysis of the way that the year went in those accounts, and what can you do to shore up the new year and your portfolio.
Another thing too that might be a little bit more technical or complicated for a client, and this is why it's important that you're working with an advisory group, is there are a lot of non-retirement mutual funds out there, not all of them, but a lot, that in a down year, when your portfolio is down 10, 15, 20%, are going to release a capital gain this year. Portfolio managers are doing the same that we're recommending investors to do, and that's rebalance and relook at and reanalyze the portfolios. Well, I don't know whether you understand, Adam, but I sure do.
My watch telling me that the battery's about to die. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
There we go. But to my point is that just as we're encouraging clients to make those tax changes within the portfolio, fund managers are doing that.
Yeah.
So you can have a client's portfolio right now that's down 10, 15, 20%, 100,000, 200,000. And those mutual funds might be posting a capital gain of 10, 50, 100,000 that the client then has to pay tax on.
Yep.
So it's important that you reach out to your advisor, that you talk to your advisor, maybe delve a little bit into the actual mutual funds in your non-retirement portfolio and see if that's going to happen. Because that's never a pleasant.
Yeah. No, that's a shock to the system. That people aren't even expecting, but they'll see it.
Yeah, exactly, and we'll see it in April.
Right, exactly.
when or February when the tax forms come out, or what have you. Right. So so we want to make sure that clients are thinking that strategy. And then the other thing too is looking into the new year and saying, hey, do I have a new goal that I want to start saving for?
Right.
Do I need to separate my money out or start increasing my contribution because I have a new goal, a change? Maybe you're selling a house and you need to save up for the down payment.
You're 1 year closer to retirement. So how does that change your current picture?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in an up market, we're always encouraging harvesting, right? Harvesting return, protecting it, building it towards income or some type of retirement goal. And the same is true for tax loss.
Yeah.
You know, we just discussed that, but that harvesting of tax loss is just as important as the harvesting of gain as well.
Yep.
And if you're working with a good quality accountant, like I know we refer on to, then they're going to encourage you to look at those things. Other things that you might want to consider is maybe the amounts that you change of what you're paying on maybe your mortgage. You know, maybe this year your goal is to pay off your mortgage a little bit faster and you want to make a couple extra payments for the year or a car payment, right? Look at your loans. How far are you away from freeing up $500 a month? You know, if you've got, for instance, a car loan for $500, but you have, say, cash value life insurance where there's a hefty cash value in there that you can borrow against, you might want to take $5,000 out of that, pay off the car loan,
Yep.
and get rid of that $500 a month payment.
Yep.
And then just pay a couple hundred back to the insurance.
Again, always as part of your overall analysis, taking a look at what rates you've got for your mortgage, for your car. Obviously it's been quite a turnaround in the rates and where they are today as opposed to where they were a year ago. But it's just a good time to evaluate that along with, should I pay this off? Should I not? What's your timeline to completion of the loan combined with what's your current rate?
Yeah, and specifically thinking of business owners. So if a business owner is listening as well, it's a great time to reanalyze the team that you're working with for your retirement planning.
Yep.
Right, and reevaluate. Am I in a 401k? Am I paying too much in excessive administrative fees and stuff like that? Am I getting the value for my service? And those are all good questions to ask at the end of the year so that you can then set up when do I interview or meet with somebody to discuss that plan.
Right. Yep.
Right. And I think it's on everybody's mind that they want to do a full financial review with their spouse, but most people don't do it throughout the year because you're working.
Yeah.
Right. You got kids, you got family or whatever. That's another thing at the end of the year we encourage is set up a full review time maybe with your spouse where you guys can talk about your household budget, your bills, your expenses, and what next year looks like.
Yeah. Yeah. It's always a busy time of year right now, right? Between all the holidays and family get-togethers, and something kind of sets in from time to time during this time of year where that begins that, I'll worry about that in January. I'll worry about that next year. And that's what we're saying today is make the time now to review now. Yep. All of these things.
And one year-end precaution I think I would say is a lot of times inactivity happens around the holidays because of the conversations people get in with their loved ones.
Mm-hmm.
And it almost always goes to a couple different things. Economy, politics, and football.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
And if you're a household that root for the same team, you could be arguing about three things instead of just two. But sometimes those internal arguments that become full arguments during Thanksgiving and the holidays and stuff like that kind of put fear in people.
Yeah.
Right? Because they say, oh, well, I'm with that political party or I'm not with that political party. And now I have fear because this changed or that changed. And, and that can be demoralizing in getting your goals going for investment because it could throw fear in there. I would say try to remove that from the equation and plan out your strategy for next year regardless of what's going on.
Yeah. It's a simple concept, but there should be goals for each aspect of your life, right? But putting a plan in place and getting that plan in place should not be something that's driven by fear, but more of what's the end game and end goal and the positive component to that.
And that's with any type of financial decision. I would say group into that year-end review, not only a review with your financial advisor and booking that out into the next year. It doesn't have to be the first month of the next year. Just make sure that you have it on your agenda to do that. But I would say the same thing with a property casualty agent. Review your policies. Are your limits high enough? Are they too high? Is your deductible too high? Does it need to be readjusted? Same thing with health insurance. You and I've had this discussion about health insurance. It's a good time to review. End of the year. What type of plan am I in? Is there another plan that's eligible? Maybe your spouse took on a new job or is taking on a new job. And those are all year-end checklist stuff to do. So what I would encourage clients to do is get a white pad out, just like we have here, and just start writing down the things that you want to review by January 30th. Right? The things that have to happen by December 31st and the things that you want to implement by January 30th.
Right.
And, then you can just have a list and go down and check them off. And maybe a spouse, when they're home early one day from work, can do some of it. And you do some when you get home, and that's an important thing.
Yeah.
So, so our main focus today is just encourage clients, get out there, do your year-end stuff, look at tax loss harvesting, changing investment strategies, putting yourself in a better situation for the rebound, investing, adding to your IRAs, reviewing your 401k plans. Anything else major that you can think of?
Just taking this year with a grain of salt. When it came to investments for everybody, right, the year in the market, as I said, was something that hadn't been seen in a long time. And just understand that it is a part of the market cycle. This won't last forever. It will always rebound. It always has. But this won't be the last time we see something like this. So taking these things into consideration, pertinent to our conversation, is that we're going to see this type of a downplay again, and we want to make sure that you're always harvesting.
Yeah, and for those people that aren't clients, if you want an independent review of your accounts and maybe some concepts and strategies for things that we talked about, tax loss harvesting, rebalancing, getting you in a good direction from a tax standpoint or from a growth standpoint, please reach out to Esli Group at 800-222-3202. We're at 43 British American Boulevard in Latham, but we are in about 22 different states, and we travel very well, and Zoom is actually a great form of travel as well.
Sure is.
So we offer all those services, obviously to prospects and clients out there as well. And as always, like, subscribe, and share. It's your time, your money.